Welcome to Wrong Time Watch. My name is Kevin, and today we're looking at the Tissot PRX Powermatic 80 35mm, also referred to as the PRX35. Tissot first came out with the TRX 40, which would be the size watch I would want for my wrist if it was a non-integrated bracelet watch, something similar to this Seiko Dress KX. This is a little bit larger of a watch, but since this is an integrated bracelet, it looks a little larger with the extra weight out here on the corners, or perhaps just the way the lug-to-lug works out on this watch. But this watch was kindly sent over by Saltzman's Watches for us to check out. The watch is on loan, and I'm not able to size the bracelet, so it'll be a little bit large on my wrist. Go check out their Instagram and their website. I'll leave links to both in the description below. So MSRP for this watch is $695. We do have a flat sapphire crystal, and you can see the textured dial there. So they also offer this watch with a quartz movement, and the dials on those do not have the texturing. Kind of reminds me of Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. You can see the text down there, PRX Powermatic 80. So it does have the Powermatic 80 movement, and the 80 means that it has 80 hours of power reserve. That second hand is sweeping at 6 beats per second. It is hand winding and it is hacking as well. So hand winding, this is a push-pull crown, so I can just wind it in the first position here. You don't need to unscrew the crown and pop it out to wind it. Next position out. Well, let's pull it all the way out. The second hand has stopped, and then you can change the time. If I go back to the first position out, then I can change the date. Right there's the date change. Let's pull the crown all the way out and put it back to 10:10. So I have a 6.5-inch wrist. I think in pictures and video, the 35 looks good on my wrist, but when I look at it in real life with my eyeballs, it looks a little bit small, but that's just a personal preference type thing. I'm used to wearing a little bit larger watch, like the Submariner, for example, or my Seiko SKX, and these do have a rotating bezel, so overall the watch looks a little smaller. So I'll show you this watch on my wrist in a moment here. We do have Swiss Superluminova for the lume. We'll compare that to my SKX at the end of the video here. 316L stainless steel case. We do have brushed and polished surfaces. It is mostly brushed. The light play on this bracelet is amazing. It just looks so good, and I'm sure it would be super comfortable on wrist. The watch is quite light, 105 grams with all the links, and these links just feel like butter. They just feel so good. So I'm sure this watch wears wonderfully on wrist. Do have a butterfly clasp. Also, you can see the display movement there. Display case back to see the movement. Not much decoration there. A little bit on the rotor. And you can see we do have these quick release end links. And they do offer rubber for this. And I think I've seen leather as well. And then there's some aftermarket options. So a nice little system there to quickly change out the bracelet. These are split pins, and like I said, I did not adjust it for size, but it does have split pins. You can see there's little arrows on here on the bracelet right there indicating which way to press out those pins. For some reason I was expecting there to be screws on here, but there's not. You do have, again, solid end links, butterfly clasp. I would prefer to have a regular clasp, but we do appear to have some smaller links on here, so we can get this sized in to fit your wrist pretty well, I think. Just size a little bit larger. That's what I would do at least. All right, let's talk about the dimensions. So not a little bit different to get the lug to lug, because this first link is basically fixed. It does not articulate. So tip to tip on the case, I measured at 39. It was actually 38.9. I rounded up to 39. And then this link here, looking at 44.8, or if you want to round up, 45. 35 millimeter case diameter. from the outermost edges here. The bezel is inside of that case. 11.4 millimeters thick. Could be a little bit thinner if it didn't have that display case back, but 11.4 is not too bad on the thickness. 24 millimeter on, it's not really the lug width, but this first link here, the bracelet is out at 24 millimeter. It does taper down very nicely to 16 millimeter. So let's get this on the wrist. I'll compare it to the Submariner real quick for size reference. This is 40 to 41 millimeter. So you can see that size difference there. Let's take a look at the thickness as well. And we'll get this on wrist. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. It really does help me out here. We do have the clasp, I guess we'll call it a clasp, is signed there. Tissot 1853. So there we go. Let me know what you think of this size on my wrist. Maybe it looks a little small on video, but I think I could pull it off. I'd like to try a smaller watch on wrist, just wear it for like a month straight, and I'm sure I would get used to it. Let's zoom out a little bit, give you a different perspective here. You see the light play on that bracelet. It's a very cool looking watch. I was going to say it's not a watch style that you would usually see, but there's a lot of companies offering these integrated bracelet watches now. And for an automatic movement, $695, I don't think that's too bad of a deal. Oh, I didn't mention the crown. The crown is a 5 millimeter crown, which I feel is a little bit small. And with all the links, it weighs in at 105 grams. So size for my 6.5 inch wrist, I would expect it to be under 100 grams. Well, let's check out the loom. So we have the PRX35 in the middle there, threw in the Submariner on the left, and have the SKX009 on the right. I can't even see the indices by eye anymore on that PRX35. In the handset, yeah, I can see it. It's not the brightest thing in the world, but you can still see that handset. I'm sure it's not really a fair comparison to this dress casual watch compared to two dive watches. But anyway, it's what I have on hand, so there we go. Alright, that will conclude this video. As always, thank you for your time and thank you for watching.